Shalom everyone, this is Rabbi Allen and we are going to continue our weekly videos with Yeshua in the Torah. And again, I want to start with a question this afternoon. It seems that I've been sort of beginning with a question each time I did a video, but here's the thing. Have you ever thought, there have been so many false messiahs, or so many people that claim to be Messiah, or rabbis claimed other people to be Messiah. Why specifically would we think, or should we think, that Yeshua was the real Messiah? Okay, and hopefully I'll be answering that in the next couple of minutes with you. So, this week's Torah portion is Vayakel, and he assembled, and Pekudei, inventory. Exodus 35:1 through 40:38, and the corresponding Haftarah portion is Ezekiel 45:16 through 46:18. So we are at the end of the book of Exodus, and so it is a double portion this week of the Vayakel and Pekudei. So in this double portion, we read an awful lot about the tabernacle. We've been reading about the tabernacle a lot. As a matter of fact, the tabernacle takes up about 13 chapters of the Torah. And so in these readings this week, we are going to read about the specific articles in the tabernacle, the actual building, the ark itself, the menorah, the eternal light in there, and we read about the priesthood and the garments of the priesthood. And so, as I've said in the past, the tabernacle is the actual center of Jewish life. So central that the even in the encampment in the wilderness, all the tribes encamped around the tabernacle. So the tabernacle was in the middle, and all of the different tribes would be around it, facing the tabernacle. And of course, as I said, even when the temple was built in Jerusalem, it was in the very center of Jerusalem. Jerusalem is in the very center of Israel, and Israel is in the very center of the world. So it's the very center of everything, the tabernacle and the temple. And so why was it so important in the Torah that God spent 13 chapters talking about it? And when he talks about something so often, it's something very important. Here's why it's important. It is the only way to get to God, to have a relationship with God, by what went on in that temple. Now, there were activities that were going on around the temple, but the main activity that was going on there, and the entire being of the temple, was about the priesthood and the blood sacrifices. And so why? Because the way to have a relationship with God was through the blood sacrifice. So as I said in the beginning of this video, there were dozens of pseudo-messiahs throughout history. The most famous, probably, that we know about was Bar Kokhba. Bar Kokhba was proclaimed by Rabbi Akiva to be the Messiah. And what's strange is, even though it was soon, within 2 years of Rabbi Akiva saying that Bar Kokhba was the Messiah, Bar Kokhba died, and he died in battle. And so Akiva was, in fact, a false prophet, so to speak. And yet Rabbi Akiva is still honored today in Judaism, even though he proclaimed Bar Kokhba to be the Jewish Messiah. Isn't it crazy that Jewish people today that believe in Yeshua as the Messiah, They're not honored today. They don't honor his birthday every year like they do in the Orthodox Jewish community. But Bar Kokhba died in battle. As a matter of fact, all of the pseudo-Messiahs throughout history, dozens and dozens of them, they died of old age, they died of sickness, but none of them died in the way that Yeshua did. Yeshua is the only one that died in the way that God outlined the animal sacrifices for the atonement of sin. And so that's how we know that it makes Yeshua a unique Messiah, a unique proclaimed Messiah, because he shed his blood and was sacrificed for the sins of his people. And it was proclaimed by the prophets in the Tanakh, in the Old Testament, that the Messiah would die. Isaiah 53 said that he was led like a lamb to the slaughter. None of the other pseudo-messiahs were led like that, in such a way that they said they were led like lambs to the slaughter. But Yeshua, like the sacrificial animal, gave his life for his people. And so that's what makes Yeshua unique among all of the proclaimed messiahs throughout Jewish history. And so he came. And this was the thing. In most of Judaism, the rabbis have said this for centuries and centuries, that the Messiah would come to bring peace. The Messiah would come. In the first century, they said the Messiah would come to free them of the bondage from the Roman Empire. Yeshua didn't come to do that. And so this is one of the reasons the rabbis over the years have said he was not the Messiah, because when he came, he didn't bring peace to the world. He didn't free the people from the bondage of the Roman Empire. Well, the reality is they don't understand why Yeshua was coming. And they don't understand of his two comings. That his first coming, he would come not to bring peace to the people from the surrounding Romans, but he came to bring peace in our hearts. He came to bring peace within us, to bring a spiritual peace and to allow us to have a relationship with God. And then he would return a second time, and then he will bring peace to the world. He will be the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Now, throughout history, the rabbis have said, some of them said, oh yes, there is somehow a double coming of Messiah, and they know that actually from the prophet Isaiah. They say, well, there's a servant Messiah, and there is a king Messiah. And so they made up this theory that there will be two Messiahs. One will be a suffering servant, and one will be the king Messiah. The reality is it will be the same Messiah. He will come twice. He came once already, and we are waiting for his return. And so right now, we are waiting for the ruling and reigning Messiah Yeshua to return. And it's still time for Jewish people to accept him, to accept what he did 2,000 years ago and shed his blood for the redemption of our sins, so we can have a wonderful relationship with Abba Father. So that's it for this week. Before I end my video, just a short reminder, my book is still available on Amazon. The link is down below after the description of this week's Parsha. Just go below that and there's a link there and you can order the book. And let me tell you, I've been having comment on this and meeting people face to face, and I've had a few people that actually used the same words, and they said, I am now excited this year to go into our Passover Seder and open our Passover Haggadah and to see what we do every year, and it's going to put things together with what we read in your book. So you still got a couple of weeks. Only takes 1 or 2 days to order and get the book from Amazon. You can also get it in Kindle form immediately, and you can read it on your tablet or on your computer. So until next week, this is Rabbi Allen, and I am bidding you shalom, shalom.